Welcome back. Today I'm going to revamp this border behind me. Autumn's a really good time to review and develop borders. There's lots of moisture in the soil, so it's a really good moment to move plants around, take out plants, add new plants, divide herbaceous perennials such as hardy geraniums. It's a really good time to plant. And there are plants in here that I want to take out, and there are new plants that I want to add in. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back the salvias, hot lips, one of my favourites, which I talk about a lot. It's actually still in flower, so I would normally leave it because it can flower even into November. But what I want it to do is I want to cut it back so I can create spaces to add plants. I also want it to bush up, so if I cut it back, it'll encourage it to be bushy. There's still enough warmth in the season, hopefully, for it to bush up a bit. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to cut back the salvias. And then I'm going to take out the plants that I don't want. I'm going to improve the soil, and I'm going to add some new plants to give this border a new lease of life. So watch this space. I've pruned the salvia hot lips here, and so it'll bush up a bit and be less leggy. But this one here is quite leggy. It's growing for the light. It's under a lilac and it's really quite leggy. So I'm actually going to take it out and put another plant in there. So now I'm going to take out the plants that I don't want. I'm just going to talk through the other plants that I'm going to take out. There's a hydrangea under the lilac which is struggling. I have to water it so much in the summer to keep it just going. It's going to come out. It's too dry under there for a hydrangea. Then I'm going to take out the grass, the ornamental grass, not sunny enough. And in fact, there's another salvia hot lips which is the stem is broken, so that's going to come out as well. So that's what I'm going to do next. Next, I'm going to improve the soil. My border, the soil is quite poor and dry. It's not great, the soil, so it does need improving. It's underneath this lilac. There are mature trees taking up the nutrients and the moisture, so I'm going to improve the soil. And I've got a bag of manure and a bag of compost. Now, the reason I've got both is because some plants like a rich soil and some don't need it. The salvias don't need a rich soil, so where I'm planting the salvias, I'm going to improve it with compost. I'm going to plant them with compost, and where I'm doing the hardy geraniums and the penstemons, I'm going to use manure because they like a slightly richer soil. So that's why I've got both. Now, autumn's a really good time to improve soil because there's lots of moisture in the soil, and any organic matter that you add will break down quite easily in the soil because of the moisture level. So it's a really good time to improve soil. So onwards and upwards. These are the plants I'm going to add to the border. Basically, they're plants that I've had in pots over the summer. They're running out of steam a bit now, and I want to put them in my border because I think they'll work well in my border. There's one plant here which wasn't in a pot, which I've bought. Basically, I've got two salvias, both Salvia greggii. One's called Orchid Glow, the other one's called Amethyst lips. The Amethyst lips is the one that I pruned in a recent video, and you can see it's already producing shoots, it's already bushing up nicely, which is what I wanted to do. It was quite wangy, it was right out here and leggy, and I've reduced it to more of a bushy perennial. To my right is a penstemon, two penstemons, which are running out of steam in this pot. They need more nutrients, which I'm going to give them in the soil. And then I've got a couple of hardy geraniums in here, Geranium and Patricia, which are going to go in the border as well. First of all, though, I'm going to cut some of them back. Not this one, greggii, that's done, or this one, that's fine. But I'm going to cut back the penstemons a bit, and I'm going to tidy up the hardy geraniums. Oh, making me crouch. Now I've finished cutting back the plants and tidying them up. Penstemons looking nice and bushy, and the hardy geraniums, I've just nipped them back. I'm going to take them out of the pots and I'm going to place them bit like doing a jigsaw. Place your plants first before planting them. Oh, I forgot to mention, I've got a couple of campanulas here, which I'd forgotten about, which I'm going to put in. There's one, this is quite a tall campanula, and then there's a low campanula in front of the pot, which will go in the front of the border. And I think it'll be good in a situation in poor soil. I think it'll work really nicely and give me a bit of ground cover. So there we go. First, I'm going to place the Salvia greggii Amethyst lips, which has very pretty small purple and white flowers. Late summer into autumn, also known as autumn sage, Salvia greggii. It gets quite big, this plant, gets quite tall. I'm going to put it pretty much where the hydrangea was, so it'll have a bit of bulk and substance. So I'm just going to place that. It's quite heavy, it's got a lot of soil, a lot of root. I also wanted to say to you it's quite drought tolerant, so I'm putting it near the lilac where the soil is really quite poor and dry and where the hydrangea has struggled. But the salvias actually cope with quite poor soil and they're quite drought tolerant, so hopefully it'll be perfect there. Now the Salvia greggii Orchid Glow, which is this plant here, which has lovely hot pink flowers late summer and autumn. I really like hot pink in a garden. So that's going to go in at the back. And this plant, some of these plants are really full sun lovers and I'm pushing them in part sun. But I find my salvias do work in this border. I think I get enough sunshine because my fences are quite low. So I seem to get enough sunshine for them. So ideally this is really a full sun plant, but I'm going to put it in part sun. And it's going to go at the back here. Next, I'm going to do the hardy geraniums. I've got two here, Kellyanne and Patricia, which I've talked about before. Kellyanne is lower and quite sprawly, and she's going to go in the front. This is Kellyanne, lovely pink and white flower. And in this border, I've got quite a lot of Geranium Johnson's Blue. They've died back now, so you can't see them, but basically at the front, there's a lot of Geranium Johnson's Blue, which would be good for early and midsummer. And then this geranium, Kellyanne, will take over and she'll flower summer, late summer, and look into autumn. It's now October and she's just still flowering. So I'm going to put that in here. I may rejig the plants, but at the moment I'm just doing some initial placing to get an idea of the spacing. And then the other geranium, which is this one, Geranium Patricia. It's actually quite a big geranium, so she can go mid-border and she stopped flowering. I've got some Geranium Johnson's Blue in front of her. And now I'm going to place another low plant, this Campanula. This one's called Waterfall. It's called poscharskyana Blue Waterfall. Not very well pronounced, but anyway, it's a lovely plant. And that's put in quite a dry, slightly shady position. I think it'll be fine. Now the penstemon, again, penstemon are really full sun lovers. So I'm going to see how it fares in this border. I'm going to put it towards the back. Another penstemon. Geranium Johnson's Blue are along here, so this won't be gappy in early summer. This is to come. And lastly, this little campanula, which actually is quite a tall campanula, so that needs to go at the back. Actually, I'm going to put it in there. And then I'm going to look at it from afar and see whether things need rejigging a bit. Everything's going to get bigger. And I'm also going to put in some allium bulbs in another video, so it'll be punctuated by allium purple sensation. I've removed the plants and now I'm going to add some compost and manure. I'm going to dig it into the soil so it's incorporated, and I'm going to put it roughly where it needs to go. So the compost for the salvias, the manure for the geraniums and the penstemons, that's that kind of a thing. So I'm going to do that now. Start off with the compost. This is lovely Rocket Grow, lovely compost. Adding organic matter at this time of year really improves your soil. So I often think of autumn as the beginning of the gardening year because you can actually improve your soil, which is the starting point for planting. I've replaced the plants roughly where they were, and when I come to plant them I might rejig them a bit anyway, so it doesn't have to be absolutely exact, it's just a rough idea of where they're going to go. When I plant them and dig a hole, I'm going to add some more compost and manure depending on which plant I'm planting, just to give them a bit more nutrition, a bit more fertiliser, a bit more enrichment. I can't think what the word is. Anyway, I'm going to start with the salvia at the back there. All the plants are now in, and I can give them a good water. It's very important to water well for the first watering so that they establish, so they put their roots down. And also keep an eye on the watering for about the next month. Water your new plants once or twice a week if it's dry. Obviously if it's heavy rain you don't need to do that. You'll see the fruits of my labours next summer when everything will be flowering and it'll all be looking gorgeous, I hope. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.